Fake news and how to deal with it. Introduction. Have you ever heard that Katy Perry loves eating human flesh? Or that Johnny Depp earns money online using Elon Musk's platform, while the latter fired the head of the Twitter department on a live show? What do these pieces of news have in common? Well, none of them is real. In the modern world, where information has become a commodity like material goods, anyone can become a news creator. However, some of those creators or authors decide to create and share news that is not real. So why is this information posted and shared by so many users around the world? People who create so-called fake news have different reasons for sharing false information. Fake news, definitions and types of fake news. The classic definition of fake news assumes that it consists of news articles that intentionally mislead readers and are verifiably untrue. Fake news, as a media phenomenon, has its origins in the works of the first pamphleteers and satirists who distorted real events or actions of people in order to achieve political, social, or economic benefits. Craig Silverman, one of the editors of the service BuzzFeed News, which specializes in the issue of new media ecosystem, defines fake news as 100% false information, published mainly by sites that focus solely on generating page views and using hoaxes to collect clicks. That's clickbait. Another author, Sheldon Bernstein, understands fake news as fictitious reports or rumors of current events that have been entirely fabricated and are intentionally deceptive. They are created to deliberately deceive users and at the same time motivate them to distribute and share this content. They are only intended to create the resemblance of truth, to the extent that readers not only believe them, but also share them with other media users. Fake news can take the form of shorter or longer texts, including images, infographics, false photos, or even memes. Today, the possibilities to mislead have been extended by the extensive use of social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and others. What are the types of fake news? There's classical fake news, sources that completely misrepresent information, disseminate fraudulent content, or grossly distort actual news reports. There's satirical fake news, sources that use humor, exaggeration, irony, ridicule, satire, and false information to comment on current events. State-sponsored news, sources in repressive states operating under government sanctions and control, whereby the only information is that approved by the government or regime. Information is often misrepresented and certain elements may be omitted. There's pseudoscientific fake news, sources that promote pseudoscience, naturalistic fallacies, and other scientifically false or questionable claims. There's fake news based on hate, sources that actively promote racism, misogyny, homophobia, and other forms of prejudice and discrimination. Clickbait, sources that can sometimes provide credible content but use exaggerated, misleading, or questionable social media headlines, descriptions, and/or images. And there's political fake news, sources that provide generally verifiable information in support of certain political viewpoints or orientations. Why is fake news published and shared? Fake news is often designed to damage the reputation of a person or entity, or, when page views count, to make money from advertising revenue. The purpose of publishing fake news is often to increase the financial profit of media companies. Sometimes fake news is published for fun and entertainment, attracting attention or gaining publicity. Fake news content can be spread by anonymous users. Internet trolls are also responsible for spreading fake news, especially on sites such as Twitter and Facebook. In addition, once information is entered, for example in social media, it can be further disseminated by subsequent users of these social media platforms. Moreover, it may be changed and this altered form disseminated yet again. Discrediting some journalists, causing social disturbances, or putting pressure on a specific political party are all among the purposes of producing false information. What are the mechanisms of creating fake news? The purpose of creating fake news is to gain as many recipients as possible, i.e., to spread false information. As such, headlines that attract attention with their form and the right choice of words are employed, as well as pictures, which additionally consolidate the information in the memory of recipients, driving internet and social media platform users to read and share untrue messages. Fake news has a similar structure to real information, yet it contains a shocking element relying on the reader's surprise, strongly affecting their emotions, values, or attitudes. Possible motivations for spreading fake news may be personal. Influencing others' opinions on various topics is considered relevant. It could be political. Disseminating fake news is aimed at convincing others about the political views of the person, as well as influencing the choices of others. Could be religious. Sharing fake news is thought to be a mission to spread the faith. Financial. Convincing people to click on ads. For fun. Creators of fake news wish to spread rumors or do it as a joke. It could be unintentional spread. People providing fake news may not know that it is false or untrue and sincerely believe in the shared information. They also wish to share controversial, often shocking information with other recipients. Fake news sites often exist for financial reasons, and the purpose of sharing their stories is to obtain money from advertising. How to recognize fake news? As many studies have shown, effective detection of fake news requires reliable techniques for assessing veracity. Detecting deceptive clues in dubious content of different themes and styles on social media is technically difficult, given that fake news usually includes intentional deception and hidden ambiguity of language. So, things to consider in recognizing fake news. Consider the source. It is necessary to track the editorial office responsible for the particular source, who the owner is, etc. And read the whole article, not just the headline, in order to understand the whole material. Check the authors to verify if they are credible. Find the publication. Make sure it's not a joke or satire. Ask the experts. Get confirmation from independent people with knowledge in the subject field. It's also worth looking at the way the message is published. Is the content available on a known website? Does the address of this website raise any doubts? Is the language of the news correct? The spelling and punctuation preserved? If not, it may be a poor quality translation of fake news, which is designed to reach as many recipients as possible. What emotions does the content evoke in us? Is it intended to evoke anger, malice, contempt in us? If so, the content is highly suspicious and should not be trusted. Summary: defending ourselves against fake news. Useful pages. Critical thinking is the key competency to protect ourselves from being victims of fake news. A critical analysis of the content makes it possible to reveal the mechanisms by which false information has been created and to recognize the motives in producing this type of news. In addition, there are special institutions that deal with so-called fact-checking. Fact-checking consists of nothing more than activities focused on checking the credibility of the reported facts. According to the research published by the Poynter Institute for Media Studies, the greatest interest in fact-checking was observed between 2015 and 2017. The most initiatives, foundations, and social debates were created during these years, resulting in innovative projects on fake news. Currently, there are over 50 fact-checking organizations operating in the United States. According to the Duke Reporters Lab, 187 organizations in over 60 countries are active worldwide, several of them in Poland. These organizations aim at spreading media education and creating reliable analysis of digital competencies in support of disseminating public debate. Such fraud attempts can be checked by various organizations whose purpose is to assess and publish such activities.